What's up, players? It's Warboss Tay up in this mud. Welcome to how to paint a Tau, my Tay Tau reel part 2. Today we're going to go over bringing your model back up from the washes and the shades, and then doing some weathering and doing some details like adding the Tau sept and doing the blue energy buildup and the lenses. So let me know what you think. I love this weathering effects. I think the fact that, you know, my Tau are not clean and bright and shiny, and they don't look like, you know, your run-of-the-mill super awesome anime warriors, but really dirty, grim, dark, kind of like if Robotech or some anime squadron, some anime cartoon got thrown into the 40k universe, landed on a desert planet, and was told to fight for its life. Then after about a year or so, this is what they would look like. Their equipment's all chipped, they're all worn, and they've lost all of the clean lines and everything that made them so anime-ish is all kind of buried under the chipping and the dull, dirtied colors and everything. I'm not really finished with the basing. You can see from my test model that what I'm actually building them up to is like this very bright, bony colored gravel. But I don't have any time to finish, and I have to run out of the house today. This took a little bit longer than I thought that I would, and I wanted to throw it up and not wait any longer to get it up on YouTube. So I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you have a good time watching. Don't forget to check out Project 1 Gaming. At the end of the video, there's the barcode, and you can get a 20% off for today or tomorrow if you order something, because that's the end of July, and then that'll be the end of that. So check out these stuff over at Project 1 Gaming and enter to win that free Necron Army. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this Tay Tau reel. It was a lot of fun to paint. I love Fire Warriors. I'm going to be doing some Kroot and some stealth suits next. Possibly a crisis suit, possibly a vehicle. We'll see how things go with everything else that's on my plate, but hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you in the next one! Alright, so we are back and we are continuing to paint our Tau Fire Warrior. The next step we're going to do is we're going to paint the darker green with Xandri Dust. Green, what am I talking about? The darker brown. Hello, good morning. So I've got my wet palette here. And we're going to paint straight. So this is the point actually where if you wanted to do the Games Workshop color scheme, instead of Xandri Dust you would use Tau, I think it's Tau Light Ochre. It's a very yellowish kind of brown, very akin to the old Vomit Brown or Bubonic Brown. But like I said, I don't really like the Games Workshop style. It's not for me, as Igor would say. Speaking of which, Igor? Igor? Where did he go? Is he gone yet, Master? Oh, Igor. Is who gone? The very scary man with the gas mask. Oh, Commissar Bane. Yeah, he's gone. He terrifies me even more than that Carl Franz character. That's right. It's alright, Igor. He doesn't even know how to pronounce my name. It's not Igor, it's Igor. Probably just something to do with his mask, maybe. Traumatized master. Sorry about that. So, when building up from a shade and not going back to the base color, like I'm not going back to XV88, I'm going straight up to this Xandri dust color. The important thing that I like to do, and I'm not sure how other painters out there feel about it, but I like to really stick to the raised highlighted or raised areas, because it's pretty much a highlight, skipping a step in the middle. And this is super helpful for me to remember, okay, where are all the raised areas? Where are the recessed areas that I want to stay away from? Like I want to stay away from these lines in the armor plates. And just kind of stick to the flat areas. So Igor, you don't really care much for the Deathcore Commissar, huh? He called me horrible names, Master. He called me a malcontent and a ne'er-do-well. I don't even know what that means. You don't know what that means? No, I never finished monster school. Oh. I've been living on my own, on the main street since I was a little crypt horror. I'm sorry to hear that. No, it was alright, because I met up with a bunch of other crypt horrors without parents like myself, and we started delivering newspapers, singing and dancing, and then taking on the American government and putting a new spin on media and journalism for the early 20th century. No, I think that was the plot to Newsies. What? Newsies? It's a movie they turned into a stage musical. Oh. Well, what I really meant to say was that I never went to school because the last time I went to school, I didn't learn much of anything until Jack Black came in and taught us how to play musical instruments, and then had a big rock band recital where we all got to learn things about each other and about ourselves. And in the end, we overcome our different adversities and our differences to create wonderful rock music with Jack Black. That's actually the plot to School of Rock. Oh. Igor, you watch a lot of movies, don't you? Well, I like to consider myself a cinephile. Mm-hmm. Oh! A lampshade almost fell off. Whew. Man, it is hot. Summer heat. Killing me. I live in Hawaii and it's usually nice and, you know, temperate here like year round. It's usually not that bad, but man, it is hot up in this mud. So as you can see, there's a little bit more precise with the armor plates on the leg than just slapping the paint on all at once, leaving a little bit of a line in between each plate so that I can black line it later. Which I found works really well, and it's a lot easier than I had thought it would be when I first tried it. It's like, oh, that is too precise. There's no way I'm gonna ever get the paint in there and do what I want it to do, but yeah, you'll be surprised. It all works out pretty well. Alright, so that is that armor plate painted up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to paint the lighter armor plates, and those are going to be painted up in Ushabti Boom. Okay, so we're talking about the helmet, we're talking about the accent pads, and we're talking about the little shoulder pad here. So let's get that first. I was looking through the Tau rulebook, and it said that only the leaders of fire warrior teams have the middle plate of their shoulder armor colored in this lighter white cream color, but I decided for mine that I would make it a thing that all the fire warriors in this team have, unify them a little bit more by that. So you should get an effect while you're looking at your colors of the darker color being a little bit more, what's the word? Being pretty predominant, but not as garish to the eyes as the Games Workshop style yellow brown Tau armor is. Hopefully. The trick about my army, my particular army, is that the details come from the weathering and the chipping and all of that stuff. Everything else is just, you know, a template or a palette for all that. Okay, leave that to dry for just a little while, and then the top color we're going to paint over this for the lighter, creamier colors is going to go actually all the way back to Rakarth Flesh, which was actually our base color. If you want to, you could skip the Ushabti Bone, but I found this yellow, the yellow of the Ushabti Bone creates a really nice mid-tone for the Rakarth Flesh to bounce off of. And at this point, we are firmly in Warboss Tay Sept color schemes. So it's not really going to look much like Games Workshop style anymore. And if you want that, then you should go back to the, just kind of stick to Tau Light Ochre. I would do that, and then do maybe 1 or 2 more washes of Agrax Earthshade and do some black lining. So your model should look something like this. And let's actually paint the gloves before we move on to the black lining. So, in order to do good black lining, I like to take the darkest wash I can find, which is Nuln Oil, and I like to... Wait, where is it? Where is my Nuln Oil? Please hold, ladies and gentlemen, while I find my Nuln Oil. I swear I was just using it. Okay. There we go. So you're going to take that and you are going to slowly paint it in between the armor plates, anywhere where there is a nice hard black line. So, let me walk you through it. Up here in the helmet, for example, the great thing about the wash is that it doesn't kick out into the sides. You can kind of pull it with your brush. If this were a regular paint, the minute it touches one of the sides and starts flowing out that way, then you would have a hard time pulling it back towards the center. But because it's a shade, you can do that a lot easier. And what does black lining do? It gives the viewer of the model from a table distance away a good clear idea of where the lines are. And when you have models that are very specific, like Tau, Space Marines, etc., a little bit of black lining goes a long way. Kind of just want the wash or the shade to go into the center and sit there. The more it splatters on the outside, the more cover-up work you'll have to do later on. So I just like to try and keep it to the center as much as possible. So get something like that. The most obvious places for this black lining technique on the Tau are between all the leg armor pieces, this crotch armor piece, and in the gun, and the shoulder pads, and the helmet. And the gun is actually the easiest one to do because most of it is already predominantly black, so you're just lining the little colored plates with the wash. There. Easy, right? If you have excess, just wipe it onto the belt, because the belt is already still black. So it'll maintain that color. It's like you're killing two birds with one stone. There. Voila. Très magnifique. Ooh, and now we're on to the weathering. Okay, we're moving along. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some chainmail and we are going to paint the two sides of the little sept marking in the rifle. And this is actually the last thing you have to do if you're painting up what I'm gonna call a loyalist fire warrior, and have it look, you know, good on the battlefield. So the next things we're gonna do is The next thing we're going to do is adding details in, and one of the details I like to do is add in some weapons glow. So we're going to take some Sotek green, our new Hawk turquoise. We're going to paint a couple of things. The eye lens on our Tau Warrior. And the vents in the gun. Now these are what really drew me to Bruno Rizzo's Tau the first time I saw it. These glowy flashes of blue, turquoise, teal color amongst all of the drab desert tones. Next we're going to take Temple Guard blue. We're going to highlight the blues that we just painted. Starting with the eye lens. And then the lower half of these vents we're going to paint with Temple Guard blue. Like that. Last color we're going to add in just a smidgen. I'm just used to this because I used it before, but if you have the new Oathwan Gray, you could use that. I'm going to use Space Wolves Gray. I think it's Oathwan Gray, which is the new equivalent in the new range. I'm also trying to get rid of all this old GW colors, so I like to use it as much as I can when I have the need to. So now we're just painting inside the bottommost tips. It's a little bit dark, so I'm gonna add in some ceramite white to lighten it up just a little bit. I try not to use too much white in my painting, just because it's so, you know, there's no color brighter than white. It's the penultimate top. Just a little bit should be okay though. Should be okay. The two corners, and there you have it. Something that looks like that. What I do like to use the white for, though, which we're going to use next, are for the Tau sept markings. Now, what do I mean by sept markings? You'll notice on some Tau warriors, they have script on their bodies or on their weapons. Let me show you some examples of what we're going to follow. On this finished Tau warrior, he's got sept markings on his chest here, on his rifle, as well as on his, sorry about that, on his shoulder pad thing. Now, because this is a Renegade Tau faction, for me, I covered up the Tau insignia here on the shoulder pad, but with some green stuff. But you can just paint in the Tau symbol if you want. Although I'm doing that raised voice thing. You can just paint in the Tau symbol if you want. But I am going to paint my symbol for my Renegade sept. Another reason why I'm using this, thinking of this fluff of why this Tau force is broken off from the greater good, is so that I can use them either as allies or with allies in 6th edition. So sept markings are just think a lot of, or just think about doing a predominantly lots of straight lines. You only need 2 or 3. I like to use 2, but if you just think straight lines with little variation amongst them. Tau writing is very distinct from other forms of script in the universe. Something like that. You could also decorate it on parts of their uniform, different areas like that, and you should have the same effect. If you feel like your sept markings are a little sloppy, all you have to do is go back over them with the base color. So, for example, show you what I mean. I've got some Abaddon black on my paintbrush. I'm just going to straighten up this sept marking here. And cut off the edge, square it off like that, square off the tops. And I'm going to square off the middle. And there you go. You've instantly made your sept marking more precise. Okay, last part of the video, hopefully, is going to be the chipping. And, oh, I did forget to do this part. So just use the same colors, Celtic green and Temple Guard, to do the lens there. We're going to use Dawnstone. Actually, no, not Dawnstone. Dawnstone isn't dark enough. We're going to use Storm Vermin Fur. This is the one we're going to use to create the outline of the chipping effects. If you have Caradon Granite, that is even better, but this will do in a pinch. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your Storm Vermin Fur, you are going to paint anywhere you want any kind of chipping to be. And this is just for me. I love this effect, so I do it, but if you want your tile to be nice and clean and you don't want this chipping effect, then you by all means don't have to do it at all. For my Renegade Tau army though, kind of fits. My fluff is that they've been stranded for years and years and years without their ethereals to guide them. So they've not been able to upkeep their equipment on this desert death world. Some of it's starting to fall into disrepair. Some of it's just really chipped and battle damaged from constantly having to fight for survival in this desert. And some of it is just the harsh conditions of the desert. It's wearing down their normally resilient equipment. Basically wherever you put the Storm Vermin Fur or the Caradon Granite, that is where the chipping effects are going to go. They don't only have to be on the sides, they could also be in the middle. Like for example, for this helmet, let's put a little bit of a chipping effect right here at the center. To show where some sandstorm or maybe some rust has, or not rust, but some chipping has accumulated from the sandstorms and use of the helmet, taking off, putting it on, resting it against equipment. Just, you know, Tau as such a highly advanced technological race, if they don't have their, I guess what would it be, water caste, earth caste that maintains their equipment? One of their castes in society, if they don't have them around, things can get kind of iffy. I think the only book that I've read with the Tau featured in it was one of the Schaefer's Last Chancers books, which is a series about a kind of like a dirty dozen kind of team sent to go behind enemy lines and accomplish missions that are too risky for regular guard. So they're made up of prisoners from all these penal colonies, and if they're able to survive a mission, and if the colonel of the commanding unit sees fit, he will sign their pardon, and they will get released from jail. I was like, oh, that's ripped straight out of Dirty Dozen with Lee Marvin. But good series. Actually, I don't know if it was a good series. The first couple books were really good, and then as they start dwindling in number, they go from something like a company or like a battalion to a company to just a squad, and then by the end of the last book, the last chances are only like, you know, 5 or 6 people. You get killed off in the hundreds in the beginning, and then just keep getting killed off and keep getting killed off. Okay, so chainmail now we are going to fill in the Storm Vermin Fur outlines, and let me show you the effect that you get here. You can see on the knee pad, you get kind of like this, the chip, those paint chips. Paint is chipped away, revealing the basic metal underneath. So this is for the deepest level of chipping. So this is for the really, really old weathered equipment. Look, you don't want to do this for all of your Storm Vermin Fur sections, but for a good amount of it you do. Just to show where the environment and where battle and attrition was just too much for your Tau. I think it's a pretty cool effect. I like chainmail. I don't know if it's Runefang steel, what in the new color range is the equivalent to it, but chainmail has always worked best for me. It's got a nice bright shine to it, brighter than bolt gunmetal. This is Bruno Rizzo's specialty, this weathering technique. I wish I could have a Skype chat with him. If any of you know Bruno Rizzo, tell him I want to Skype with him. I want to learn his secrets. I want to ask him, how did you do the chipping on your Tau? I feel like mine is a cheap substitute for his chipping technique, but his weathering of his Tau, but yeah, it served me okay, I guess. Alright, and there you have it, players. A weathered, war-beaten Tau warrior of the Tau sept. I'm going to finish basing him, then we'll do a wrap-up video, and we will finish this baby up. Latest, players. Alright, and there you have it, players. I thought actually that I would be able to wait for this thing to dry and do the final piece of the basing so that it would look like this guy, but I have to actually get running, so I want to throw this onto the final cuts to start rendering. Let me know what you think of this color scheme. Like I said, you only have to do the first couple of steps to take it out of the wash back into the highlighted stage, but I kind of like this. I really like this weathered, dirty, you know, battle-weary look for the Tau. Another thing that I could have done, which I might do again later, is paint the straps holding the armor pieces to his trousers, maybe like black or something different, but I kind of like how it kind of blends in right now. Yeah, I love this color scheme. I'm really happy with all the chipping and the weathering, the bright spots of blue, and the repainting of the Tau sept marker. I think it's really cool and fluffy. So let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed this Tau reel. And I'll see you in the next one. Latest, players!